Geology is the area of science that deals with the structure and the chemical makeup of the Earth, as well as its history. What we know today about geology has come from the process of retrodiction. In many sciences, prediction is the basis of discovery. However, since geology looks primarily at the history of the Earth, it is necessary to use retrodiction to find answers about our Earth's past. Although geology is the study of Earth's past, much of what we know from the field has been uncovered within the past century. Geologists impact society in many different ways. One career path for geologists is working in the petroleum industry to locate sources of raw materials. A knowledge of geology and the history of our Earth is essential to locating the areas where crude oil is most likely to be found. In order to locate a good site, a knowledge of how the Earth looked millions of years ago is necessary. Crude oil comes from the remains of oceanic life that were alive millions of years ago that have been heated and pressurized under layers of rock. In order to locate crude oil, we need to know where these oceans were millions of years ago. The knowledge of the Earth's history can be used to locate numerous raw materials that were produced from a variety of different chemical reactions. Another important part of geology is studying the topsoil and evaluating what crops are best suited to grow in what areas. One concern with agriculture is diminishing the nutrients present in the soil, either due to excessive farming or growing the same crop year after year after year. In addition to the man-made problem of excessive farming, naturally occurring erosion is also problematic. Soil degradation can be catastrophic to mankind. An example of this is the Dust Bowl that occurred in the 1930s, which impacted farmers of the southern plains because they were unable to grow crops. This lack of crops also affected our nation as a whole. One aspect of geology that can be even more deadly comes from natural phenomena, including volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. While geologists cannot prevent these natural phenomena from occurring, knowing where and how they occur can help save lives. Geologists can identify what areas are most at risk for a specific natural disaster and then take steps to prepare people for the worst. One step that can be taken would be making an emergency exit plan for natural disasters that are likely to occur. These plans should be site-specific, as the risk for earthquakes in some place like, say, California is going to be much higher than in most of the other United States. Geologists can also look at the main impact of these events. For example, if a large volcanic eruption were to occur, calculating approximately how many people it would affect and finding ways to help those in the affected areas would save lives. One geological insight that has helped shape human history is being able to locate raw materials. One specific example of this is the coal and iron ore that were used heavily during the Industrial Revolution. These materials were not only used to produce goods, but the coal provided an energy source to run factories. The Industrial Revolution began in Britain because it had the raw materials necessary to produce goods on a large scale. The Industrial Revolution helped increase production and foreign trade, as well as bringing in new technologies. Without the Industrial Revolution, our lives today would look much different. There would likely be less trade internationally, because buying something that has been made by hand in China and then paying to ship it to the US would be much more expensive than just buying the same handmade item from someone in the US that lives in your community. Geology is a science that looks at our Earth's history, which is about 4.5 billion years old. Much of what we know is relatively new when you consider that we have only known it for a century or less. Studying geology and the history of the Earth is very important. What is learned from Earth's past can be used to help us now in the present, as well as in the future.